Welcome everyone. Welcome to SAC webinar. At the onset, I would like to thank all of you for taking out time from your busy schedule to attend this webinar. We are expecting a runtime of 45 minutes. We have a packed agenda, but let me take a moment to introduce myself. I am Happy Himanshu Gupta and I am working as a project manager with Crestech. I'll be your speaker for the day on the topic of webinar. Before we start, some general guidelines. Please check the sound settings for audibility by going to mic and speaker section. We'll be taking up questions towards end of the session. In case we are not able to take up all the questions, we'll respond on your email. Here is the agenda that we are going to cover during this webinar. I'll give a brief introduction about Crestech software systems. I'll talk about information security, the rising threat, web application security, the risks of failure, the last frontier, client perspective, the SAC way, and then we'll have a quick demo of the SAC platform. I'll tell you about the SAC advantages, and finally we'll have the Q&A. Talking about Crestech, we are an 8-year-old company with offices across USA, India, and Australia. So in USA, we have an office in Fremont, California. In India, we have headquarters in Noida. We have an office in Bangalore as well. And in Australia, we are located at Sydney. We are a team of 230 plus professionals and subject matter experts. We have 6 years of experience in setting up extended testing teams for clients. We have extensive experience in handling offshore testing teams of varying sizes, 8 to 20 people, for leading technology companies like Alvira Spain, HT Media, Star Management USA, NID Technologies, etc. We have 5 provisional patents to our name across our different test solutions, and SAC is one of those solutions for which we already have a provisional patent. Information security, the rising threat. You know, almost every day we come across news of security attacks on websites through which we are associated personally or professionally. A recent news confirmed that hacking incidents on Facebook have been rising. Another news revealed a major security attack on Evernote, forcing users to reset their passwords. And yet another news was related to the attack on LinkedIn last year that revealed the passwords of millions of users who are on LinkedIn. Now, I have these headlines here because of the brand equity and public interest these websites share. But what lies beyond the media coverage is the fact that 90% of the websites are vulnerable to application attacks, and 78% of them are affected by easily exploitable vulnerabilities. You know, Gartner measured an alarming 600% increase in the use of malicious web links in year 2012 that led to security issues like stealth of customer data, stealth of credit card information, site defacement, etc. Now, these rising threats, along with the countless vulnerabilities inherent in web applications, needs an ongoing battle to block attempts of attack on business. You know, primarily because of 3 major reasons. 1, failing to secure your web application can negatively impact your business and degrade brand equity. 2, there can be financial impacts due to expenditures involved in fighting legal battles and compensations to be paid to victims. And 3, which is the most important, it's the organization's reputation which is at stake due to loss of customer confidence and trust. You know, I was talking to the CIO of a reputed e-commerce portal. This was the time when IT security managers focused more on network and infrastructure security. But the CIO of that company told me, look, I have all the network security mechanisms in place. We have firewalls, we have intrusion detection systems, and nothing could go unidentified the network way. But my challenge lies in the security of my applications, because if my applications are vulnerable to attacks, even these network security systems would not be of any use. So Application security was the last mile for him, and I realized that it was true. Sorry for this pop-up which is coming up again and again. Another shift in trend that we have seen, and I believe it's a positive trend, is the change in the positioning of security testing activity in software development lifecycle. Earlier, it typically used to be an end lifecycle activity, but now people see it as a continuous journey throughout SDLC. Security testing today has become a part of continuous quality governance to certify every patch, every build, or every release to production. But having said that, this change in trend has its own challenges as well, because conducting it as a one-time activity was pretty much easy, but to perform it as a continuous activity would involve both time and money, and hence you need appropriate tools or solutions that can cater to this changing trend effectively. Last but not the least, it's time to move beyond top 10 vulnerabilities. With a rising scale of threats and its impact on business, organizations and individuals choose to go for an exhaustive test coverage that can screen their application holistically for the threat vectors. People do not want even 1% of the low or medium level threats to creep into their applications. Now, when I talk to people and our clients to understand their application security requirements, I found some common questions being thrown at me. The very first question is that came to me was, what kind of tool do they need to perform holistic testing on their application? Whether they should choose a commercial tool or an open source tool that will suffice to their requirements. Next, they usually wonder who is the right person to perform this activity. Can they do it themselves and involve non-technical users, or do they need an expert who knows how to do security testing? And above all, they are mostly worried to know how much is it going to cost them. Would it burn another hole in their pocket, or is there an alternative? I'm sure you would also agree with me on these questions. After hearing to these questions again and again, I realized that even after having so many commercial and open source tools in this space, there is something missing, and that has the answer to all these questions in one go. And as it is rightly said, that necessity is the mother of invention. There I was with a thought in my mind to create an integrated application security platform, and eventually came up with SAC. SAC is one of its kind on-demand security assessment platform for web applications. It's an integrated platform built over a repository of tools that can perform all type of security scans on an application. We call it on-demand as it gives user the flexibility to use it as per their requirement and pay for only what they use. The SAC platform ensures maximum threat coverage as it works on a repository of commercial and open source tools that are used to perform an exhaustive black box security VAPT. In fact, the backend engine runs on our patent pending technology that we call IntelliHack. So SAC has a completely automated platform that does not require any special security skill set. Even the non-technical users or business users in the team can use it to schedule and perform a scan on their applications. Besides, SAC is available online. It can be used anytime from anywhere across the globe to schedule and perform test scans. Well, how can I forget to say that it's a cloud-based platform, and that makes it a low-cost, affordable solution for all. The cost is way less than the cost of commercial tools available for the purpose. With that, I'll take you to a demo of the SAC platform, and I'll switch my screen to the browser. this is the website, that hosts the SAC platform. It's www.testandcloud.com. Some important characteristics that I would like to tell before I log in. The architecture of SAC creates an individual database for each client. This is to maintain the confidentiality of customer data and maintain high availability and performance. Besides, the data is stored in an encrypted fashion, and the hosting is being done by secured and certified data centers. In order to create an account on SAC, it's no big deal. You'll just have to visit our website www.testandcloud.com and register yourself, which is a 3-step easy registration process. Now I'll log in into the self-service portal and showcase you the features. So every user that registers get a self-service portal. They have a username and password to log in into their portal. And as soon as they log in, the user lands on a dashboard that gives all the important updates and recent notifications related to pending scans and reports for completed scans. So if you see here on this page, we have notifications on the top. We have information about pending scans. We have information about reports. And the page also gives information on the last report that was created for the scan that was performed lately. On the top, you can see the credits left in your account. So everything is credit based in SAC. As you create a SAC account, we give you some free credits to run 3 quick scans. Later on, you can continue to purchase more credits as and when you have a need to perform more test scans on your application. The credit value is of course different for different type of scans that you want to perform. Now if you see the left hand panel of the page, it has some menu options. The first step is to create an application under test or AUT, for which you have to go to the application section on the left hand menu. So I'll take you to the application section. I'll showcase how to create a new application. So in the table that you are looking at, these are some already created applications on which we have performed some kind of scans. In order to register your application, you have to click on New Application. Okay. Now, when you create and register a new application, the first step is to add a new domain and verify the ownership of the domain. So it's a rather 4-step process, creating an application, which are small 4 steps, not pretty big steps. On the very first step, we want you to provide your domain information, plus you have to verify the domain in order to prove your authenticity and ownership of that particular domain before you can schedule a run on that application. So here, for example, if you see the list of domains which are already there, there is a check mark against testasp.worldweb.com, which is a verified domain. Rest of them are coming as unverified domains. Now, for example, I add another domain, www.testabc.com. I add one domain, say I say add domain, it will show a cross mark against it, plus it showcases me the steps to verify it. You have to just download a file from this location and place this file in the root folder of the domain that you want to verify, and then you can click on the verify button. To complete the registration of an application and move on to schedule a test scan on it, this verification step has to be cleared. I mean, this is a mandatory step. However, the portal will still allow you to go ahead and complete the details of the applications that you want to create. So I'll now choose this domain that I added and proceed ahead onto steps 2 and 3 to complete the details that are required to schedule a test scan on the application. So I'll say proceed without verification here. My internet. Not sure, I'm sorry, it's taking time. Perhaps some network issue at our end. Yeah, so the page has appeared. You know, the step 2 has all the environment details that guide the engine to perform an appropriate scan on the application. So details like starting URL, login credentials, URLs to be excluded helps in simulating a right path to run the penetration tests. For example, I'll create a AUT test webinar AUT1. I can give a version to it. I have to specify a starting URL. You can leave it blank also in case there is no addition to it, or at times applications have index.html or PHP, whatever. We can specify that. In case the application requires a login, we have to click on yes and provide the credentials for the same and the URL on which the login is required. If the application allows concurrent logins, we can click on yes, or in case it does not, we have to choose the right option here, and we can add some URLs to exclude by clicking on add URL option and adding those URLs. For example, if we have some third-party references within our website that we want to exclude and do not want to perform a scan on, we can add those URLs here. Then some environment details which are not mandatory, but definitely they help in running some specific tests to your application. Click on next here. Step 3 is related to setting off any proxy. Again, all the non-mandatory fields are there. I can move on to the next step, which is the last step. There are certain terms and conditions that we suggest you go through before completing the registration of your application. So you just have to click on this checkbox and save and close. So if you see, test webinar AUT1 has now appeared in the table, in the grid on this page, and there is a green cross against this application because the domain is not yet verified. And if I take you to other options against this application name, even the scheduling a scan option is not allowed, because unless you verify this domain, you would not be allowed to schedule a scan on this application. So after creating an application and completing the registration process by verifying the domain, it gets ready to be scanned for security threats. The next step that a user has to perform is to go to the scan section and schedule an appropriate test scan against the AUT by specifying a time to start the scan. Now I'll take you to the scan section again by using the left-hand menu. I'll create a new scan. So while scheduling a scan on your application or while creating a new scan on your application, there are primarily two things that you need to be clear for scheduling the scan. Number one, the type of scan that you want to perform on the application. and 2, the time at which you want to schedule a test scan. So scan name, I can again give a test scan webinar 1. Now these are the type of scans which are pre-configured in the system, and each scan has some associated credits with it that will get debited from your account once you run that particular type of scan, or once you use that particular type of scan. So we have quick scan, which is a very fast scan that goes on to just 50 URLs. We have SQL injection and cross-site scan together. We have again a cross-site only scan, a SQL injection only scan. Then we have a OWASP top 10 scan, and finally a deep system scan, which gives the maximum threat coverage and does an exhaustive black box BAPT on your application. As a free user, the credits that we give you, you'll be able to run only quick scan on your application. So I'm choosing a quick scan here. Now I have to select the AUT. For example, here in the drop down, you'll be able to see only those applications that have verified domains. Right now I have verified domains only for these 2 applications here. I can give any scan description. I can give a build version that I want to do. I can specify a time zone, so users having servers at different locations, and if they want to schedule scans in different time zones, they can do so. I have to specify a start date and time. I can schedule a scan now as well, or I can schedule it for some sometime later. For example, scheduling it for say 4:30 India time, and I can put some comments if I want here. I just have to click this checkbox stating that I have read the best practices associated with the security scan. You can read those best practices by clicking here and click on the schedule scan button to place that scan. So if you have a look at the grid again, the table here, on the top you can see a test scan webinar 1 scan name, which has been scheduled on AppSec, and the time of scan, and there is a status corresponding to it, which is waiting for execution. So we have different status messages that guide you the state in which that particular scan is. For example, if you see test happy 1, the scan just below it, it has test configuration in process as the status, which means that we have started configuring, or the platform has started configuring the required infrastructure and the cloud machines to perform the scan. Since the scan runs on cloud machines, there is some time involved in instantiating and configuring the test machines, which typically takes around 15 to 30 minutes. So we suggest that you put a time scan accordingly. Example, if you want to start a scan at 11 PM, please schedule it for 10:30 or 10:45. You can also see a status message as scan complete for AppSec Quick. This message appears once the scan is complete and a report is generated. Now, after a scan is completed, test reports are collated and normalized by the SAC engine, and these reports are available for download on the self-service portal itself. So user can log in anytime to view the test report and can download it for later use as well. I'll show you a test report for one of the completed scans that we have. Besides, regular notifications are sent on your registered email IDs that keep you updated on various activities and the status where your scan is. So I'll take you to the report section again from the left-hand menu. Now here are some scans which are complete, and we can see reports corresponding to them. The reports have been marked unverified at this time because they have been automatically generated by the platform and possess a chance of having false positives. The users can choose to get these reports verified by security experts with the help of some premium services that we have in SAC. I have clicked on a view report link, which is opening a report for an already completed scan. Okay, the report has primarily three sections. The first is the executive summary, which will give a summary of the entire test that has been performed, the number of threats encountered, the severity of threats, and a categorization of threats as per OWASP standards as well. So if you have a look at this particular tab, which is executive summary, you can see the details about the scan. What was the application tested, how much time it took in scanning, what was the starting URL, then what are the top 5 URLs with most vulnerabilities in them, and then a severity issue distribution versus severity matrix. The next tab, which is issue distribution section, has more details on the vulnerable links and the count of vulnerabilities encountered against each URL that was scanned during the test. So this particular table will help you understand all the links that were scanned and the number of issues encountered against each URL that the SAC platform scanned. Finally, the vulnerability detail section gives you a detailed report that will be more meaningful to the security analysts and developers who want to understand and resolve the security bugs. The report gives details on each and every vulnerable URL by specifying the type of vulnerability encountered against that URL, the parameters that were exploited in that request sent to the server, the severity of the problem, and some remediation steps to resolve the vulnerability. So if I just scroll down, here is the URL that was scanned. For example, the very first URL had 3 vulnerabilities against it. One was broken authentication and session management. Then there was SQL injection, also identified in this particular link. Rather, there were 2 broken authentication and session management issues. They are reported differently because they have been exploited using different parameter values. Similarly, you can find a detail against each URL against that has been identified to be vulnerable in the application. You can download these reports using this button, download full VAPT report, for future reference, for sharing it with your clients or within the team, the development team, and other stakeholders. You can go to other sections of the self-service portal like My Account to view and edit the details of your account. Plus, you can anytime contact us and use the support which is there within the self-service portal itself to log tickets and get them resolved by the team of experts sitting in the backend. That's pretty much on the demo of SAC. You can explore it further by creating a free account and logging into the portal. In case you face any issues or need any assistance, we'll be more than happy to help you. You just have to drop us an email on support@testoncloud.com. Taking you back to the presentation that we were looking at. Now, as we have seen this entire platform, I would like to talk about the 4 key advantages that SAC brings to the users. Number 1 is confident go live. With an exhaustive coverage of threats, it leaves a negligible possibility for any threat vector to exist in the application and make it vulnerable to an attack. So it gives you confidence to go live with your application with ease, because you're pretty much assured that all the vulnerabilities which could be there in the application have been identified and fixed. Second is save cost. You do not have to invest into expensive commercial tools or juggle with open source tools to meet your requirements. SAC brings you a cost-effective and affordable solution to cater to all your security testing needs. Third is, pretty much important. You can involve your business users now. SAC reduces your dependency on technical folks and security specialists. There are simple steps that can be performed even by non-technical guys who know the application to schedule and start a security scan. And finally, work online. SAC gives you the flexibility to operate at any time from anywhere across the globe. You are not restricted to a place, machine, or tool to perform security testing on your application. That's pretty much we have in this webinar on SAC. We can now have the questions, and we'll try to respond to them. In case we are not able to take them now, we'll surely email the responses to you. All right, so we have questions. I'm just having a look at them. All right. So one of the questions is, how is it different from existing solutions in this space? Well, there are not many players in this space. I believe each of the solution has its own strength, and our strength in SAC is the ease of use and exhaustive test coverage that we provide with the help of this platform, and not to mention the cost advantage that we give. Will you be providing any doc or PPT that can help me evaluate the tool? Well, I can share definitely a SAC presentation with you guys or anybody who wants it. Besides, you can register online on this portal, and we give you 3 scans for free. We give you some free credits using which you can run 3 scans on any one particular domain that you have, and try the tool yourself. In case you are stuck up anywhere, in case you face any problem, we are always there. You can just drop us an email on support@testoncloud.com. Okay, we have a question here. How much historical information is stored in the report section? I'm not pretty sure what that questions mean. Is it on how many reports or how many past scan reports can we save? Well, we give you an option to delete your reports permanently, because for the confidentiality purpose, we give you that kind of an option that you can go ahead and delete those reports permanently, or else you can keep them secured in your self-service portal itself. Besides, as I already mentioned, all the data in the backend is secured, is saved in an encrypted fashion using secure data centers, service of secure data centers. Is this for only web apps? Yes. At this point of time, this works only for web applications. However, we are working on the next version of SAC that will also support mobile. So since mobile security is a very upcoming requirement, we are coming out with mobile security solutions soon, and we are actively talking to some tool vendors to integrate it with our framework. Okay, then we have a question on what are the web servers, app server, and DB servers you support. So the platform supports all the various technologies, different app servers, different DB servers. You know, since it's a web application and the tool performs a black box VAPT, it hardly matters, you know, what kind of engines are there in the backend or what kind of servers are there in the backend. The tools that we are using in this particular platform are able to exploit vulnerabilities across various app, DB, and web servers. For example, IIS, Tomcat, WebLogic, all the standard servers are supported by the system. SQL Server, Oracle on the database side, everything. All right. Again, there is a question on say for deep scan, how much time it will take say for 100 URLs. Well, you know, the scan time in case of black box penetration testing typically depends on the page width and the density and the type of security scan that you configure. So for example, you mentioned a deep scan. You know, it would vary from a day to 2 days kind of a time, wherein it will take all your URLs to scan and generate a report out of it. Okay, we have a question then. What is the SLA that you give for any report to your clients? Well, you know, I mean, SLA could be, it would have been great if you would have mentioned it in some quantitative fashion. But if I talk about the coverage, as I already mentioned, one of the SLAs that we assure our client is the maximum threat coverage. We have tried and tested SAC against the popular and the most widely used tools in this space, and we have found comparable results, even better results that are generated by the SAC engine. So one of the SLAs is the threat coverage. We definitely follow standards like OWASP and SANS while performing the scan. So those are the SLAs in terms of the standards that we follow. In terms of time, you know, it totally depends upon how big is the application and what type of scan the user wants to perform. So it typically depends upon that. There is no concrete SLA on it. And finally, regarding the false positives and the quality of report, as I mentioned again, you know, the reports which are generated automatically by the SAC platform are unverified, and there can be a possibility of you know, of false positives in the report. But as premium services to SAC, we have a team of intelli hackers, people who do black box, gray box, and white box testing in the backend, and you can always avail their services to get your reports verified, to get manual testing done on your application, and you know, help you with the recommendations to fix those vulnerabilities. So we give all those kind of premium services to our users. To know more, you can you know, raise a ticket with us, or just drop us an email, and our business development manager will get back to you and help you with all your queries. Yeah, so there is a question again, does it support mobile apps, Ajax? Well, as I already mentioned, currently it does not support mobile apps. It's only for the web applications. However, we are you know, coming out with the mobile security solution soon. Okay, there is a question how to use your app for black box testing. Again, I'm not pretty much clear on that question. Are you referring to an application which is hosted within your infrastructure? So for that, I would say that, you know, we have an enterprise version of SAC for which we do a custom implementation of this platform on our client's infrastructure itself, so that they are able to perform scanning on their on the applications which are hosted internally. So to know more, again, you can drop us an email and we'll get back to you. We have again a question. It would have been good if you would have shown what do you do back screen to generate these reports. Well, that's that's the entire technology on which the platform is running. There is a lot of normalization and standardization that goes in the backend by the platform itself. That normalizes the reports from different tools, converts them to a compliant report, and then presents it to you in a understandable format. Okay. As this is okay, we have a question. As this is on cloud, do we get private cloud for our team? Well, the current version of CSAC that you were looking at, it's a public cloud version. In case you want it on a private cloud for your team, we can do a custom implementation for you within your enterprise, on the private cloud that you prefer. So that's absolutely feasible. But that's a different version of CSAC altogether. Okay. We have a question: in what format the reports are generated? Well, the reports are generated in a PDF format at this moment. You can download them in a PDF format and you can view them online in the browser itself, as I showcased during the webinar. There's a question on what was the URL for test. Well, I think you can, again, I can share a few URLs if you want to go for a test URL, but those are the URLs again which I'm not sure if you will be able to use, because you'll have to get permission from the users or kind of verify the authenticity on which before starting a scan on them. Okay. We have a question from Ramesh Chandra Jha. Is it possible to create our own test suite? Well, test suite, again, I'm not pretty much clear on what exactly you mean here. See, the public version of cloud that I showcased, in that you can create a set of various applications on which you want to perform scans. The flexibility it gives is that you can perform multiple scans at a time once you become a premium user. As long as you are a free user, you cannot run multiple scans at a time. So you can create multiple apps, you can schedule scans simultaneously on different applications, and in a way you can work simultaneously on the complete platform. Okay. How about duplicacy of results? Okay. Well, for that, we have a normalization algorithm which is optimized up to 99.45%. But still there is a mere 0.55% chance of some duplicacy in the results. I think we are pretty much now close to the closure of the webinar timings. We'll definitely respond back to all other queries that we were not able to take up during the Q&A now. Now, wrapping up this webinar, I would again like to thank you all. Thank you very much for taking out time to attend our webinar. We'll email the responses to the queries that have been left unanswered in the session. In case you have more queries related to CSAC, please feel free to drop us an email on support@testoncloud.com. Thanks again. Thank you very much.